Om. ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. So, Hari Om everybody. Last time we started chapter 10. I told you chapter 10 is an explanation of starting chapter 7. Bhagavan has started explaining who he really is. And so in 7, he gave us uh, his yoga sthiti. Now that we are studying yoga and vibhuti, he gave his yoga sthiti is the essence. So he gave us the Drishtant Purnima, where he gave us example of what is the essence in things. So essence in water, what is the essence in the intellect, what is the essence in the strength. That is what he told us. And he also gave us the example of the thread holding all the pearls. Sutre Manigana Iva. The thread, I told you, the thread cannot be seen. What we see only is the pearls. So the thread was explained in chapter 7, essence, but not all of us have that sort of a subtle intellect to understand the essence of things, something that we can't see. If we are more gross-minded, then we look at the pearls. Basically, that is the idea. We look at the pearls and we get caught up in the pearls, means in the external world that we are seeing, in the gross objects. So he starts chapter 10 to explain to those who find it difficult to understand the essence in an object. He says, okay, you are actually looking at the gross object, then in that object, in every single object that you see, try to see me. And that is what is known as vibhuti, or his Aishwarya, or his glory. So we are extroverted, we are looking outside at the mountains, the trees, the rivers, the plants, whatever human beings. He says, try to see me in all of them. So this is explaining the one in the multitude. This chapter, I see the multitude, and he's explaining the one in that multitude. That is what he's doing here. Whereas in the chapter, the one that essence was explained, which we normally don't see. So that is what the difference is. So vibhuti, I told you. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri is the vibhuti. Vibhuti, like I gave you the example, Chinmay Vibhuti that we have in Pune, that is the glory of Gurudev, Puja Gurudev. That's why it's named as Vibhuti of Chinmaya. Means Chinmayananda's Vibhuti, means all the things that he has done for the mission or for us, right? So Shri is Vibhuti and Bhagavan is Yoga Sthiti. Yoga Sthiti is something which we cannot see or perceive. And then Bhagwan is Yoga Sthiti and Uvacha becomes his Vibhuti, because Uvacha, what he says, we can hear. So that's what becomes his Aishwarya. So in this first chapter, we saw, he says, Bhuya, again, I will tell you, again, because I've told you all this before. That is the idea. That's why, again, I'm repeating myself. And why are you repeating that? Because Priyamanaya, Yatteham, because so far you have been delighted to hear me. You know, if the student was getting bored, then what is the point of the teacher repeating the things? That is the, that is the idea. That's why he says, again, I'm telling you because Priyamanaya, you have been delighted. And how do I know that you are delighted? Because you've been asking me so many relevant questions. You have been asking me to continue. Right in chapter 2, I told you the teaching was finished actually in chapter 2. But yet Arjuna asked a question. So which means he wanted to hear more and more and more. And that's why now again I'm explaining to you what my various vibhutis are. Okay. And so we also saw this Anubandha Chatushtaya in this. Adhikari, who is qualified student for this? Mahabaho. Mahabaho, a strong-armed person, but strong-minded also. I told you, more than we need physical strength, of course, but more importantly, we need the mental strength to continue on the path, to, because one thing that I also found was that because the majority are not following this path, so it becomes difficult for us. I am personally finding it, yesterday I was at a celebration of life, and the MC, she started with a verse of the Gita, second chapter, and then she said, yet we are all saddened by her departure, which means you never understood the essence of the Gita. You see, so when majority is like that, it is difficult for us, and that is why that withdrawal has to come. This is actually my personal thing, but anyway. So Mahabaho is the adhikari. He is qualified, a strong-willed person to remain. Kathopanishad has already said it. This is like walking on the razor's edge. So imagine how difficult it is to walk on the razor's edge. You know, it's like that. That Upanishad only has said it. Very difficult. So that's why we need a lot of mental strength to remain on the path. One is to come on the path is one thing, our destiny, but to stay there is even more difficult. Then what is the Vishaya? The first is Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Hetu. These are the four things, Anubandha Chatushtaya. The Vishaya is Paramam Vacha, my speech, supreme speech. How does speech become supreme? When we talk about the supreme, speech is supreme. If we talk about mundane things, then that is lower speech. Okay. So some people, they only talk about other people. Some people talk about politics. So these are the three kinds. The topmost people only talk about the reality, the truth. So that is Paramam Vacha is the Vishaya. Then Priyamanaya. So what is the what is the purpose? I know Priyamanaya is this is Sambandha, but what is the purpose? Hetu. Hetu is Hitakamaya. Hita means desirous of your welfare. That is that last word that means Kamya is desirous. I have the desire of your welfare, and that is the reason, the purpose, the hetu of my explaining this Paramam Vacha to you, and you are the qualified adhikari, and you are delighted to hear this, so you will absorb this, you will understand this. Priyamanaya is the sambandha. There has to be a connection between what is being spoken and what the listener has in his mind. If the listener wants to, learn physics, then there's no point in his reading a chemistry book. That is the idea. So the book also has to be of physics. The listener also must want to study physics. Here, he is delighted to hear about the reality, which Bhagwan has been telling in the last 9 full, first purification. All Bhagwan was talking about was that truth. And he's been delighted. And therefore, Bhagwan is saying, I will tell you once again. And he says that Name vidu suraganaha. This is not an easy subject to understand. Even the devas and the rishis have not understood this, or they find it difficult. Devas representing the sense organs, rishis representing the mind and sense organs. It is not something that can be understood by the mind and the sense organs, because in the material world, all our knowledge is coming through the sense organs, through the mind. Whereas this is a knowledge which has to bypass these two. Sense organs and mind both have to be bypassed to come to that ultimate reality. And therefore, it is not very easy. And that is why I'm going to now tell you again in this, okay, all of them. And then if you do understand me, so transcending the mind, transcending the intellect, and the sense organs, of course, if you, yo mama jamana, o mamaj anadim chaveti, the one who understands me to be ajaha, unborn, beginningless, and anadi, beginningless, unborn, beginningless, as Loka Maheshwaram, as the Ishvara of all, creator, Lord of all the worlds. If one understands this, asammudha samarteshu, then he is a sammudha, deluded, wrong thinking. He becomes, his thinking is corrected. That is the correct thinking. Asammudha is to think correctly, non-deluded. Asammudha is one who is not deluded, one who is not thinking incorrectly. Incorrect thinking, I told you even in the morning class, I am body, mind, intellect. This world is real. My happiness is in the world. All this is incorrect thinking. So once you come to know the Supreme Self, this incorrect thinking goes away, and he sarva papai he pramuchate. He gets extremely liberal. Prakarshena muchyate. Muchyate is to get liberated, freed. Pramuchyate is prakarshena muchyate. He is extremely liberated, all liberated of all sins. Since I told you, sins has got levels. So first, we don't know what Dharma Shastra is, or we know Dharma Shastra. We know what is do's and don'ts, and we are doing it, but we do it with doership. So I have the vanity that, I'm a very good person. I follow all the injunctions. I don't do anything bad. So that is there. The next step, that is sin then. The next step, what happens? Next step is when we realize that I should do good, but I should not take ownership of it, because that is what is binding me. The ownership is binding. Action never binds. Action by itself is inert. Action has no capacity to bind. But the ownership, the doership and the enjoyership that I take on, and doership we understand when we feel either vanity of what good we have done, or guilt. Some mistake we have made, and then we feel guilt. So when that residue is there, that residue, when it remains, it is then creating a vasana for our next birth. And then, of course, the final sin is to consider ourselves different from God. So one who understands him to be, this thing means not understand some other entity, understands himself to be unborn and endless. Means that's why I told Aham Brahmasmi. I have to understand myself to be that entity. Not that there is some God somewhere else and now he is unborn and that is not correct understanding. Correct understanding is to understand that I am that ultimate reality. And once I understand that, all identifications drop. Once identification is dropped, there can never be any sin happening. Okay? And now he gives us 4 and 5. I told you he's given us virtue. This is similar to the chapter 13. Oh, we are in 10 only. Oh, sorry. So in chapter 13, there will be what is known as Jnanam. He calls Jnanam, because for me now, the whole thing is becoming like one, something. He's already explained this. No, for you guys, it'll come in 13. But this is similar. So please remember that. Starts off with buddhihi jnana asammoha. This is where we were. Buddhi is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Sattvic buddhi is one that will, uh, where your behavior is as per what is right and what is not right. If your behavior is based on, I like this, therefore I'll do this, I don't like that, therefore I won't do that, that becomes rajasic. So when you're, because action is based on buddhi, intellect is saying this is the right thing to do. You may not like it, but you have to do it. And if you do it, then your buddhi is ruling the action and your buddhi is sattvic. There are things that sometimes as a duty we have to do, which we may necessarily not like. And if I say, no, I don't like to do this, so I'm not going to do this, then it's rajasic. Okay. And tamasic is totally incorrect thinking. Jnana again depends on the same thing. It depends on buddhi. So there's sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic jnana. If there, I don't know whether there is anything like that, but it's totally not, not something totally wrong. Sattvic jnana is that which sees oneness in the multiplicity. That is what we are trying to do now. That is what in this chapter, in this multiplicity, we are trying to see that one. And then Rajasic Jnana is that which is divisive in the sense it will see the differences. So you're different, you're different, you're different. That is what is Rajasic. Rajas, predominance of Rajas, there will be a manifestation of like those differences will become very real to us in a Rajasic. But in Sattva, when as we develop more and more Sattva, then even though we see the difference, we think, no, it's okay because this is all because, like I always given the example, Duryodhana and Arjun, they're totally opposite characters. But Bhagwan says, I am equal in both. I'm there in Duryodhana also. So if we can see that in something that we don't like, then that is Sattvic Buddhi. Okay. And then this Sattvic Buddhi and Sattvic Jnana will lead to asammoha. That's what we saw. Not thinking incorrectly. Sammoha is delusion. Delusion is wrong thinking. So not to think incorrectly is a sammoha. So when our thinking becomes corrected, what is correct thinking? I am not the BMI. That is correct thinking. That sattvic buddhi will lead to that knowledge, ultimate knowledge. So asammoha is nididhyasana. Jnana comes from Shravanam. If people are taking notes, last time, did I say buddhi comes from Shravanam? I get the feeling Jnana comes from Shravanam. Because you see, I'm listening to the teacher and then that knowledge I'm getting. So Shravanam. Now, this buddhi is who is churning the knowledge. That is Mananam. So buddhi represents Mananam, Jnana represents Shravanam, and asammoha represents nididhyasana, because that is the ultimate goal, is that you listen, do Shravana first, you listen, you get the knowledge, then you churn it in your mind, saying, oh, I think I'm body mind, but Guru said I'm not body mind, then how am I not the body mind intellect? So that churning is called mananam, and churning happens inside. Knowledge happens outside. We're getting knowledge from outside, from the book, from the teacher, from CDs, whatever. But this churning is happening inside. And when the mananam removes doubts, Shravanam removes ignorance. Okay. So we were ignorant of the fact that Aham Brahmasmi, that has been removed. Then we have our doubts. How can it be? How can this be? How can that be? Doubt is removed by Mananam. And in Nididhyasanam, what is removed is Viparita Bhavana. Bhavana, thought. Viparita, opposite. What is the opposite Bhavana? I am Jiva, Jivosmi. First is I am body only. Then when you just rise above a little bit, consider yourself to be different from the body, you still think you're the Jiva. That is Viparita Bhavana. That removal happens in Nididhyasana. And Nididhyasana, therefore, is keeping the mind, intellect on one and one thought alone, which is Aham Brahmasmi. So that aham brahmasmi thought removes this aham jivosmi thought and itself vanishes. That is what happens in the ultimate analysis of meditation on nididhyasana. That is what it is, ultimate. For that, the mind has to be very, very, very single pointed. So extremely purified. Okay. So this is the first three. Then kshama, the next virtue, kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness be, why should we forgive? The same thing again will come. Anyway, forgiveness, I've told you there are levels of forgiveness where the realized masters, they don't even think that something wrong has been. When will you forgive? What is forgiveness? Somebody did something wrong and now you say, okay, it's okay, let it go. Okay. So one level of forgiveness is to not even consider that the person did something wrong. When there's no question of forgiving only, na? What you did is not wrong. Eknath Maharaj was his, there were, he's a realized master from Maharashtra. He used to go to the river Narmada to bathe every morning. And then there were his opponents. They always have for bhaktas, devotees, they always people. So they sent a man to stand there and he said, when he comes out of finishes his bath and comes out, spit on him. So this man is standing there and he spits on Eknath Maharaj, and quietly Eknath Maharaj goes back to goad him into a fight. But he quietly goes back and takes a bath, comes back, same thing happens. It happens 108 times. Finally, the man realizes that this person is not an ordinary person. Nobody can tolerate somebody spitting on you for that long and quietly go back and take a bath again. So that time he falls at his feet and Eknath Maharaj says, no, it is because of you that I got a bath 108 times. Usually I would have just done it once and gone. Now look how much merit I've got. That is the highest level of forgiveness. Or the other, this is sattvic. Then rajasic is, yes, you did something wrong and okay, I'm forgiving you, okay? To make them understand that, yes, I'm the one that is um, more superior to you made a mistake. Tamasic is where you don't forget and you don't forgive and you don't forget either. Okay. So the idea of forgiveness is actually forgiveness should be done for our own self, actually, because unless we forgive ourselves, we cannot forgive anybody else. And as long as we don't forgive us and the other person, there'll be no peace of mind. That is the main thing in forgiveness, actually. All these levels of forgiveness and all is okay. But kshama, why should I forgive? Then what happens is it'll keep bothering you. That's why they say forgive and forget. Forget about it also. Whatever has happened, it's happened in the past. Yes, mistake, because we all, and also knowing that we also commit mistakes. It's not like no mistake is happening. That's why, it's Jesus Christ said, right? The first stone shall be cast by the person who has not done any sin. And nobody could throw a stone at that prostitute. So who is there who has not made a mistake? That is also, so that way also we should try and forget, and whatever has happened in the past has happened, is gone. And that is what will give us all these virtues that are being now told. The ultimate result is peace of mind. That is the most important thing in spiritual seeking. Always watch your own mind. Is it at peace? Even when we are scolding a child or scolding somebody or saying something, you should be at peace. Your mind should not be agitated. And this is what forgiveness will do. That's why kshama. Satyam, truth. At the highest level, we know what truth is, pure consciousness. But at the transactional level, what I think, what I speak, what I do should be in alignment. There are so many people who, they think one thing, they talk something else, and they do the third thing. That is not Satyam. Truth also is Satyam. We have seen this when we chant our mantra, Upanishad, Satyam Rutam Vakshami, Satyam Vakshami. So Satyam is that, suppose I have an idea in my head and now I am conveying that idea to somebody else, then the same experience that I have in my mind, it should be created in that person's mind. That is Satyam. There is sometimes we tell incidents, right? And even if we change the tone of our voice, this is what she said, and this is how she said it, it would give a wrong impression. It could be a different impression to the person. You get my point? In the transactional world, there's or maybe what was said, somehow an example doesn't come to my mind, but what was said in a totally different context or a different meaning, but I can twist it. And when I tell somebody, this is what she said, or this is what he said, and this is how he or she said it, then it is creating an incorrect impression in the mind of the listener. That is not truth. Truth is that which creates correct. I have to, this thing. That's why for spiritualism, for sure, avoid gossip only. But if you have to tell something to somebody, then tell it in the right way, right tone of voice, so that that same, whatever was said with something in mind. That something in mind must translate exactly as the same thing in the other person's mind. Do you get it? That is what Satyam is then. Okay. Dhamma and Shama, we've been studying since Tattva Bodh. Dhamma is control of the senses, Shama is control of the mind, and I cannot, what it is. It's very, very important, these two, very, very basic also. Dhamma is when I don't allow the objects to come into my mind. And how do I do that? Physically, no object is coming inside of me when I walk the mall. If every object started coming physically, then where would we be? But my eyes are open, my nose is smelling, like all the restaurant, they will be, I'm seeing things or I'm touching things. So these sensations are coming. As long as I don't allow my mind to get disturbed, then I have observed Dhamma. Things are coming in because eyes are open, they will see. They have no choice. Color and form is there, they will see. Smell some fragrant smell or whatever smell is wafting in the air, that the nose will smell. But if my mind is, oh, I want that. Or if my mind is not getting, in Hindi, chal bichal. Mind is fickle. If the mind starts shaking because of these perceptions that are coming in, then Dhamma is not exercised. Dhamma doesn't mean you close your eyes, you close your nose and you walk in the road. It's not like that. You see things, you hear things, you smell things, you touch things, but the mind must remain calm. The mind should not be disturbed. Shama is a control of the mind because the mind is more subtler than the sense organs. Only when I'm walking outside can the sense organs see things outside. But sitting in my own home, my mind can see the whole entire mall. Can't I? Mind can see mall, not only Vancouver, in the entire world. That's where I went in Bombay. That mall is there. So the mind can go. If you don't allow that mind to keep running like that outside, then you have exercised Shama. Because mind, you'll be all alone and mind will be just wandering, right? So when the mind is not running out of the senses, when you're alone, and the mind is not allowed to get disturbed when you are among the objects, then this Shama and Dhamma both are being followed. Very important for the, again, peace of mind. Everything, see here, is, that's why I have Sattvic Buddhi. That will give you more a peaceful this thing. Sattvic Jnana, Sattvic, Asamo. So don't have wrong thinking, fanciful thinking, erroneous thinking, which is making you run. So when the running stops, you will be at peace. That's the whole idea. Satya, Dhamma, Shama. So then Sukham, Dukham. I think I told, arise from me alone is first we have to see that. Huh? Did I tell you that last time? Because these two, the first verse number 4 has got no verb in it. So 4 and 5 end with Matta eva bhutana matta eva prathak vidaha. So arise from me alone. So all these sukha dukkha. So now there are the pairs of opposites. The first line, there was no pairs of opposites. Now there is pairs of opposites. Okay. Sukha dukkha, joy, sorrow. Where are they coming from? Means coming from him means what? Because of him, I can experience sukha, I can experience dukkha also. That's what is meant. They come from me means what? Means he is not sitting there and sending joy to some and sending, oh, I don't like her, so I will give a sorrow. I like him, so I'll give him. It's not happening like that. Ishvara is not. People think like that. Why did God punish me? People think like it's not God who is punishing us. We are only punishing ourselves by our own actions. So this sukha dukkha, bhava abhava, bhava presence, birth, abhava absence, death. So both of these are can be experienced because of my presence. There is a conscious presence looking at the birth, there's a conscious presence looking at the death, and therefore these are experienced by me. Bhaya cha abhayam eva cha. Bhaya, fear. Abhaya, fearlessness. We saw in Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahman is the cause of fear, and Brahman itself is the cause of fearlessness. If you know Brahman, if you know yourself to be that pure consciousness, you will be fearless. That is the first thing that will come. Even getting established in this knowledge, how do I know how much established am I in this knowledge? Is how much fearlessness I have. That is what he'll tell you. That is also one of the tests. Of course, one is how peaceful your mind is. Are you shaking at every single thing? Shaking is both ways. Huh? Are you getting too excited when happy things happen? Are you getting too depressed when sad things happen? Too much movement upwards or downwards, that is, then you need more, you have to rise in your spiritual evolution. So the more you rise, because there's a question that is very commonly asked, how do I know that I'm spiritually progressing? How do I know that myself? Because only I myself can know. Others, it's external, nothing. So check your own mind. Did I get disturbed because this thing happened? Did I feel like, eating something which I shouldn't be eating? Did I do, how much guilty did I feel when I did something wrong? So the more disturbed your mind is, you are still lower on the ladder. The more at peace your mind is, you are up on the ladder. When you can sleep, when you can let go. Just yesterday, in one of my classes, she said, I can't sleep, I can't fall asleep. So letting go is difficult. There's too much of rajas. She's saying, where is tamas then? Tamas is there because tamas never goes to zero. But if tamas is only 1% and rajas is like 90% or 95%, then what can tamas do? When rajas, in 14 it'll come, when rajas overpowers sattva and tamas go down. When tamas overpowers, these two go down. When one goes up, the other two go down, but they don't go to zero. Nobody goes to zero. So if you can't let go, then you'll have difficulty. So this is how fear. I got a call. Why I'm saying fear? I got a call from one of my friends. She said, Jaya, I've got to go see. She thinks her mom had skin cancer. Now she has got something on her skin. She thinks now. She said, I'm afraid of cancer, Jaya. I am afraid of dying, she said to me. But there is no background. And it's very hard for me on the phone to tell her, you see. So I said, you know what? Just go to the doctor first. Get an appointment with the skin specialist. Let the skin specialist do it. Then we'll face it. Because until then, she has already lost her peace of mind. That's why she said, Joy, I need to talk to you. What can I say, right? Because there is so I said, then okay, let's go to the temple. For those people, I said, let's go to the temple. We'll pray. I'll pray for you. Don't worry. Because there's no point even saying don't worry, because I know she's already worried, right? So that is what tells us. That's why this bhaya and abhaya. So if you know yourself to be the supreme reality, if you know that there is nothing like death, but if you think that I'm the body and now I'm going to die and now what is going to happen to my family, then you will always have that fear. Okay? All right. Ahimsa. Next. Ahimsa is hurting. Ahimsa is not hurting. Physical level is one, speech level is one, but the most subtle is thought level. So even in thought, we must not think of ill of other people. That is the thing, ahimsa. That's the highest. Physical, though we don't even have the guts to go, hurt somebody physically. Forget it. Somebody said they do. Oh. But speech we might say, but speech we must control. We cannot, even if we think, we should. It was really. I'll just tell you this, so I think I can. I I would never even think, but after in states, after the election results, I had bad thoughts. I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm like, where's the Unibomber? Why did it just bullet graze only then here? I had thoughts. I honest. I'm admitting. And I thought, what are you doing, Jaya? What are you doing? You're teaching, even in thought, we cannot think like that. Maybe whoever it is, it's very, very hard. That's why thought is hard. Physically, okay, we know. Okay, so ahimsa is not hurting anybody, not thinking ill of anybody, even in thought. We must thought, word, deed. That is what it is. Thought, word, deed. So we can, that. Samata. Samata is opposite of mamata. Mamata is attachment. Attachment is I and mine, me and mine. That is mamata. This whole treatise of Bhagavad Gita has come about because of mamata. Mamata. Yesterday, another question one lady asked me in my class. She said, what is the whole entire Bhagavad Gita, if you were to give an essence, if you have to give an essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita, what is it? I said, it is samatha. I said equanimity, because it's the antidote to mamata. The whole problem started with mamata. So the whole problem will end with samatha. Equanimity of mind, equanimity while doing the action, equanimity when the result comes. At all stages in life, this equanimity has to be maintained in good times, bad times. That's why equanimity in good also, we are not saying jump up and down. The more you jump up, the more down you're going to go. So don't jump too much up also in the happy things. Don't be depressed also. And then she told me that, they, God knows, they keep talking to how many people and keep listening to all YouTube. And she said, somebody said the entire essence is Bhagwan asked him to fight. I said, there can be nothing away far from the truth. Sometimes, like my only mouth falls open. Right? So said, yeah, they said that Bhagwan asked Arjun to fight. I said, no, Baba, no. Don't listen to 101 things. Stay with one thing. Then they're getting confused. See, the problem is, then you get, oh, but he said this thing, he said that thing, he said that thing. Because we are on chapter 3 there. There's thing, we have what is known as Pitraran. Pitraran is our debt to the ancestors, which means we must do Shraddha karma and that sort of, because why do we have a debt? Because of my ancestor, so I'm here. No, my great grandfather was there, my grandfather. Because of them, I am here. So I owe that. And then she said to me, she said, there is one Swamiji who said that is very inauspicious. You should never think of your ancestors. I thought, what are you saying? How would you have been here without ancestors, without your parents? You shouldn't be thinking of your parents. You should not keep photographs, it seems. I said, you know what, don't keep listening to 101 people like that, Baba. You stay focused. That's why it's important that we just stay focused with one line of thinking, So samatha, very important, equanimity. That is also in the mind only, samatha. So because Arjun's attachment to his grandfather and guru, that is where we started, the whole problem started with that. He said, I don't want to kill my guru and my grandfather. And Bhagwan then started his discourse. Okay, Samata. Tushtihi. Tushtihi is contentment. Contentment doesn't mean happiness. Contentment does not also mean that I have a whole lot of, big house, big bank balance, big many clothes. No, no, that is not contentment. Contentment is a state of mind where whatever that you have, you think that's more than enough. Wow, I have so much. That is what contentment is. So it is not having more, but it is being happy in what you have. So if you have a one-bedroom apartment, and the way you can be content is only by looking at somebody who doesn't have. Our problem is we are looking upwards only. I have one bedroom, then I'm looking at somebody else who has a two-bedroom apartment. Then that person is looking at somebody who has a house. Then the house person is looking at somebody who has a palace. And there was a man. What is that story? So there was a one saying is, I was sad that I had no shoes until I saw a person who had no feet. So it is said that this person was walking on the road and he saw somebody going on a bicycle and he thought, whoa, I should have had that bicycle, then this thing, I don't have it. So he's unhappy. The one who is walking on the road is unhappy. Now the bicycle person is looking at the person who is in the car. He's not looking at the person who is walking. He's looking at the, he's like, Arey, kya car? If I had the car, then I would have faster. I could have. Now the car person is thinking of somebody who's flying. Arey, I only have a car, but this friend of mine, now he just bought a private plane also, or my friend can go in commercial airline. So he is looking at the plane. And he is unhappy. He is not looking at one who is on the bicycle, but he is looking at the plane. Now, the one in the plane, it seems, is very, and why are you worried? Arey, how much tax I'll have to pay? IRS will come after me. CRA will come after me. So he is also worried. Everybody is worried only. So you will be worried. You will never be content if you're looking that way. Now turn your gaze this thing. Now, if the person on the plane, instead of worrying about, if he says, at least I have a plane, thank God this guy is going in the car, then the car person should be thinking at the cycle. Cycle should be looking at the one who is walking. The one who is walking should look at the cripple who cannot even walk. At least I have a job. A long time back, this email had come. You must have seen. Consider yourself lucky if you're paying taxes, which means you have a job, because so many people don't have a job. Consider, you have a roof over it. So many people don't have a roof over their head. Consider, you've got two meals. Maybe they're simple meals, but there are so many people who don't even have meals to eat. Right? One person had said to me, uh, um, uh, I can't eat a steak every day, but at least I can have a hamburger. That's contentment. This is passed on now. I translated into my vegetarian version. I cannot have a puran poli every day, but at least I can have a roti every day, so I'm content. There will be no contentment only. That's why people are not happy. What can you do? So that is what contentment. It doesn't mean that I have to have, like all sweets and all, nothing like that, not more. Whatever I have, I'm happy. And that will bring me peace. See, the other thing doesn't, now why should I be content like this? Why is contentment? Because peace of mind. Samatha, peace of mind. Ahimsa, peace of mind. Forgiveness, forgive. Don't hurt anybody. It's okay. Understand that there is a law of karma. There is a divine law which is working. You may think that that person is not getting punished now, but somewhere along the line, it will come back to haunt him. Whatever actions that that person has done, it will come back to it, because that is the divine law. That divine law can never be transgressed and it will never fail. The divine law, the constitution of the universe that God has created, Vedas are a breath of the gods, that will never fail. That faith we must have. Okay? Tapaha, tapas. Tapas word comes in Atmabodha. I told you it's the opposite of pata. Pata is to fall. Tapa, if you make it pata is to fall. Tapa is to rise. Tapas gives purity of mind. Tapas gives willpower. We have talked about tapas also many times. The problem is that I have talked about it, but I don't know who was listening at that time. But tapas is penance, literally translated penance. Penance gives you the strength, gives you the thought that I can do this. Something which you thought you could not do, if you do it, then it gives you that willpower. That, oh, I thought I could never do this. I've given you the example of, Shivratri, where I was fasting since my childhood, but we were eating actually more things, I think. Mom made something which she never made throughout the years. Actually, we were happy. As children, as a child, I was very, Mahashivratri, once a year, I was very happy until I ended up in the ashram. And they said, cooks are on holiday today, no cooking, only bananas and milk. And I thought, oh my God, now what? But I had no choice. I had no choice. Or my choice was to tell my mom, you bring. I said, no, no, that is not correct. And I ate and I was fine. I was fine. See, that is what tapas does. Things which you thought that no way. I've gone through because I thought, tea, how can I give up sugar in tea? Then I gave up, nothing happened. I was fine. Then I thought, no, no, tea I gave up, but coffee I cannot drink. Then I gave up sugar in coffee also. And I'm fine. Now, of course, they're telling me give up sugar permanently. Now that will be a great tapas for me because I've got a sweet tooth. This refined sugar it gets in, there's inflammation in the body because of refined. My massage therapist is telling me this. Jaya, give up white sugar. I'm like, oh, that's no, let's. So tapas, that is tapas. Okay, so that gives you the willpower, the strength, and that is what we need. We need strength, and we also need to know that yes, I can do it, because this is a difficult path. This is a difficult path. So tapas will give you, but tapas doesn't give knowledge. That is to be understood. And we have seen that in the case of Parvati. Dhruva did tapas. Okay. So Parvati did great tapas for Shivji. So she got married to Shivji, and then he gave her mind was so purified, he gave her the knowledge. Dhruv also did tapas for that one place that he wanted. And then because he held his breath, he controlled the entire pranas, right? All the devas, they couldn't breathe. He held his breath, Dhruv. Nobody could breathe. Then they went to Vishnu and they said, no, you better make him breathe because we can't breathe anymore. He held the total pranas. That is the power of tapas. Tapas can do that, but not give knowledge. But tapas is required. For us, tapas is required. We need willpower. Okay. Danam, charity. So we have talked about this also. Charity, it can be time, it can be money, it can be advice. If you have that knowledge, if somebody is asking you, then that also. And danam should also, one thing with danam is it should be done with an attitude that I need to give. Not that you need it. Okay, so here there's some money. Here, you need it. You are downtrodden. So I'm giving. Not like that. Attitude should not be there in Danam. Whenever, whatever charity we do, okay, I have it. And yeah, I need to. Money gets purified with Danam. Money gets purified. Because why? When we work, we may not have 100% given our time to our job. So even though we have got all, in this country, though there's no question of black money, we have earned it, we've paid taxes, etc. But still money gets purified. So danam is essential, and it is for our own sake. For ourselves, we should do it. It's a virtue. And then yasha and ayasha. Yasha, success, ayasha, failure. So this is again a pair of opposite. The success and failure both are because of him. Both can be experienced because of him alone. And in success, that samatha we should be maintaining in success as well as in failure. Both have to be maintained. Bhavanti, they've come about. Bhavanti bhava, all these bhavas, all this, what has been said. So, right, starting from buddhi to failure. All these things, feelings, right? Feelings or virtues, all these virtues, some of them like Dhamma, Shama, Kshama, forgiveness, it's in the mind. Ahimsa is in the mind. Samatha is also in the mind. All these have come about because of me. Only because of me, you can experience them. And they also have to be developed. Why? For peace of mind. Because when your mind is at peace, when our mind is at peace, that knowledge will shine forth. The divinity within will shine forth better. Or externally, when I'm getting that knowledge, when the mind is at peace, there will be a better grasp of the knowledge. Even in the material world, at work, if a project is being explained, nothing to do with spirituality, it is your job project. If your mind is worried about something at home, children, family, then will you understand that project very well? That is the whole idea. So the spiritual studies requires even more great calmness of mind, more than, the outside project at work. That is why all this whole thing is being told. Okay. Any questions? We will stop here today. 4 and 5, we'll just start with 6.
I just had a thought.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I just had a thought about Satyam when you said that, when you say something, what feelings come in you. I realized that's why so many problems with texting and emails and stuff.
Yeah,
Because at the best is to speak in person so you can see the body language and people understand where you're coming from. The
correct.
next is at least a phone call, but with texts and emails, everybody's really, all of us are really ending up in trouble because we can't pass on the connotation of what we mean adequately by just those words.
100% I agree. I'll tell you what happened at work. Now it reminded me. So I got an email from, I was assistant manager, another assistant manager. I got an email from her in full capitals. Full capital. And you know what that means? Apparently, that means that she's shouting at me. I actually went to my manager and complained. I said, what, she's not my boss. And what does she mean sending me an email in full capitals? Then he talked to her and she was quite older than me. She said, I forgot the caps lock. I'm so sorry. But see how much misunderstanding. That is that Satyam. Correct. Very good. You brought that up. Yeah. Because, when we write, then, yeah. Sometimes yeah. Now I just remembered. Literally, I actually complained because I got so mad. Like, what, because that is considered shouting. If you put in full capitals, it is, but also, okay, but if somebody gives us some good news and if you put congratulations in full capitals, then that's fine. Then it's like, I'm so happy for you, congratulations, you got a baby or whatever, right? So what the meaning when it is conveyed, it should be conveyed correctly.
I
That's
think the learning for us now is to even, especially family matters, is not to use e-communication,
yeah,
especially because it
yes.
causes just goes in spiral. So I didn't mean this, and someone said that, and it just goes, and these group chats.
Oh,
Someone such so damaging because
yeah,
someone doesn't really mean what they are
yeah,
by whatever emoji or whatever they put, and then it
yeah,
sends everybody else
yeah,
spiraling, especially with family matters. I think we should be
yes,
very
yes,
careful. One other understanding I had today was all of you have repeatedly said everything comes from him, and I was thinking, but it is our vasanas that makes us be a certain way, behave a certain way, and everything. Then I realized, like how you said, you corrected yourself when you thought the bullet shouldn't have just grazed the ear. Even that correction, that awareness that I'm thinking wrong has to come from him. That's what I
yeah,
understood.
yeah. It does. It, yeah, it should. Yeah. Okay, so have a great summer. Some of you, if I don't see you. And yeah, and of course, since we have completed only 5 verses, I probably will go over them when I come back because it's too big a gap. So that's why. Okay, anything else anybody wants to share or say? All right. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्ति भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Okay, Hari Om, everybody. I'll see some of you tomorrow, and if not, I'll see you next Sunday. Okay.